Hi there, Malcolm here with my 307th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a review for The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. I listened to this on Audible, and it's about 19 hours and 41 minutes long. Now, I went into this not knowing anything about The Mysterious Island, but even so I went into it with a few preconceptions about what I was wanting to experience on this mysterious island. I'd just listened to Journey to the Centre of the Earth, which I quite enjoyed, and they found some fun things while doing so, as I was hoping for a similar ride on this mysterious island. Our story follows a balloon of escaped prisoners of war during the American Civil War. They're from the north, they're captured by the south, they escape in a balloon, but a hurricane blows them off course, and they end up on a remote island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And like with Journey to the Centre of the Earth, some translations, they've changed the names of some of the characters and taken out a bit of the extraneous waffle. And so knowing there are multiple versions, and I know the version I listened to, the names have been changed. So instead of using the names to keep it true to both versions, there's an engineer, referred to as the captain, a sailor, a reporter, a teenage boy, and a young black man who refers to the engineer as his master. And it's somewhat of a contentious issue, I think. However, I don't believe it is in the frame of slave to master type of relationship, in that they are fighting for the North against the South and the abolishment of slavery. So they are against slavery. So I don't believe that this individual is a slave. His use of the word master is a little bit difficult to pass. And they also have a dog who's very loyal and quite intelligent. So that's actually 6 individuals if you count the dog. Anyway, these 6 crash land on this island on their hot air balloon, and very quickly they realise they're on an island and they've lost the engineer. He was thrown from the balloon earlier, along with the dog. And so we follow the story of these 4 initially as they're just trying to survive, and the black man pretty much deserts them all to go and find his master, with the idea of finding his body, burying it, and then lying down on his grave to die. Again, somewhat contentious concepts going on here. But anyway, the dog manages to somehow miraculously find its way to the rest of the troop and lead them to where the engineer is. He's not dead, he's not very well, but they find him, surprisingly, in a cave, apparently having got there by his own steam, but one that he doesn't recollect, and they nurse him back to health. And from this point, it becomes more or less Minecraft the novel, as the engineer seems to have all the information required to construct, build, or devise anything they need, and great pains are taken to tell you how to manufacture the likes of nitroglycerin, how to extrude wire, amongst other things. Obviously, technology is circa 1860s, I think, but effectively they are able to devise and build pretty much anything they need to survive. And I must confess, I did get a little bit bored. I was kind of hoping for some really interesting things to happen. Now, there are a few mysteries. It's like, how did the engineer survive on his own, unconscious? There's a thing that happens later on at a lake where the dog is savaged by a dugong. Not that I was aware that they did that sort of thing. Which is probably slaughtered by an unseen thing. You know, there's something else going on this island. And having worked out exactly where in the Pacific Ocean the island is, give or take 100 miles, they deduce that, as far as they're aware, nothing actually exists there. This island has never been charted before. And it's also full of life. There's loads of trees, loads of animals, from jaguars to chickens, and they managed to build up a veritable farm, having wiped out the jaguars. They even have a monkey butler in the form of an orangutan, I should say ape butler. And a couple of years go by, they're growing crops, they're raising livestock, they're building things. There's a mystery, but they're all too busy to address the mystery. And I was almost ready to give up on it when the pirates turned up. And suddenly it became a little bit more interesting, as we had all that going on. But it was short-lived, and that, again, was resolved through some mysterious, we're not quite sure what's going on, method. Until finally, toward the end of the book, they find out who they've been sharing this island with. I'm not going to spoil it for you if you don't know, but it's a sort of surprise, and I felt a bit of a cop-out, really. I had all sorts of theories, and it turned out to be this was the answer. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. And then following that revelation, there's a very, very rapid conclusion to the story, and that was it. So I say, it felt like Minecraft, the novel, for most of it. You know, with not much happening, and so real detailed explanations how to extrude this and make that and whatever. But not really enough attention on the mystery to make it even interesting. The characters themselves, they were fine, and the engineer was a bit standoffish, but seemed to know everything. The reporter, despite being a man of words, had no problem getting stuck in and pulling his share. The black man became the cook of the island and was often included in the various menial chores, but along with everybody else. But it did seem to be every time a latrine had to be dug or body had to be buried or something really menial had to be done, he would be doing it, usually along with a sailor. He really came across a bit like Winston from the animated Real Ghostbusters series. You know, he's very much one of the team, but if there's somebody doing the washing up or the cleaning or any of the other laborious things, Winston will be the one doing it. The teenager, he got stuck in just as much as any of the others, and he had quite a good, extensive knowledge about botany, which plants were safe to eat and which weren't. So he was really handy to have with the team. And the sailor was perhaps the more interesting one, slightly crotchety, and certainly he did make me laugh while they were exploring the island, because every time they find an animal, his first question was, is it good to eat? Is it good for the pot? And of course, once all their needs are met, he then complains about the lack of tobacco. I've got everything we could possibly want, if only for my precious tobacco. He was also the more contentious of the group, but was very quickly turned around and would go along with what everyone else was doing anyway. A few more other things happened in there, but I'll keep them as a surprise for those who want to find out for themselves. And like I say, the ending was a bit abrupt. Overall, I think I did enjoy it. I certainly think it was definitely worth listening to. But it was worth reading. I thought the narrator did a pretty good job, although he was American, which did mean he threw some very bizarre pronunciations to my British ears. Some I knew about before, and some I could forgive, because there are various different ways you can say that. But one that really took me out of the story was his pronunciation of boy, as in the flotation device you use to mark out areas on the water. Over here, it is pronounced boy. I don't know why, because it's certainly not spelt like that, but that's how we pronounce it. And I was there, minding my own business, washing up, I think I was doing, when suddenly the word buoy was thrown at me. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, I just thought I'd mention that because it really was a bizarre thing for me. But that just happened to be the edition I listened to. So there you go. Have you read The Mysterious Island? What do you think of it? Comments down below, please. Try not to give away any of the spoilers. Or what pronunciation of words really throw you while listening to an Audible? Comments down below, please. But as usual, if nothing I should say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things. If you want, until next time, see you later.